If you like making precise, action-packed, and unpredictable plays, this video might have the perfect builds for you. These builds are engineered for winning unwinnable scenarios and making 1v3 plays happen. Unlike my last build, these builds are not easy to use by any means. The more skilled you are, the more effective these get, and the ceiling on playmaking potential can get incredibly high. And with enough practice, these can be some of the most dangerous Hunter builds in the game. This video will be split up into 4 major sections, with subsections timestamped down in the description. And you heard me right, there's not 1, but 2 builds featured in this video. First, I'll explain the technique behind what makes these builds possible, and a little bit of how it works. Then, I'll cover how both builds work back to back, and I'll let you judge for yourself which one you like better. After that, I'll talk a bit on the playstyle that you'll need to adapt to use these properly, as well as a few quick tips to make things simple. Before we get onto the build guides, keep in mind that these builds were designed for trials, but will be perfectly viable in comp and any casual modes. Feel free to tweak these builds with your favorite guns to find out what works best for you. I try to keep these builds relatively open-ended and flexible for you guys to experiment with. Join my community Discord if you have any questions at discord.gg/Izanamii or the link in the description. Let's get into it. These 2 builds are centered around an interaction with Reaper and Powerful Attraction, with a technique that takes advantage of Bungie's awful connection model to combine them together. You might be thinking, how do you spawn an orb with Reaper and then pick it up with Powerful Attraction? Doesn't Reaper only spawn an orb within 10 seconds after dodging? Let me explain myself. What you can do is get a kill and hit dodge at the same time, which will somehow proc Reaper and Powerful Attraction at the same time, spawning an orb and instantly picking it up all in one dodge. We can use this interaction to brew up some builds, and I've got 2 here that I think are the best 2 uses of it. Both of these builds require similar playstyles, but use slightly different weapons and feature different utility, as well as give you varying levels of build flexibility. Before I get into the specifics of each build, I'll tell you the constants that remain the same between the 2. The idea is to get aggressive for a pick, pop a dodge, and get a bonus of some sort off of the orb that Reaper spawns. I've found the best weapon by far to get said pick is a Slug shotgun. A pellet will also work, although not nearly as well. A Slug shotgun allows you to push out and get a pick at unexpected ranges, without risking a trade, while still being able to get close enough for 1 copy of Powerful Attraction to pick up the orb you create. As for which Slug shotgun, my recommendations are anything with near 100 range and 100 handling. Inquisitor with opening shot, Nessa's Obligation with opening shot, Heritage with slide shot, Duality, Gnora's Axe with opening shot, and of course, Chaperone are my recommendations, as well as my recommended rules for them on screen. The first build I'll be showing you is the one in the thumbnail, a Bakris build. The idea is to push in and use Bakris for your dodge with the previously mentioned Reaper trick, pick up an orb to heal you with both recuperation and better already, which when combined will heal you to full health by the time the Bakris animation is finished, gaining arc and stasis damage boost from light shift to follow up your play. To benefit from arc and stasis weapon boosts, 140 hand cannons and 340 pulse rifles are a good pairing if you have any of the correct element. With light shift active, 140 hand cannons can kill in 2 headshots and a body shot, whereas 340 pulse rifles can kill in 4 headshots and 2 body shots for guardians with 8 resilience and under. My favorite weapons for this build are these rolls on Aya's Luna, PSI Hermetic 5, Crisis Inverted, and Phylotactic Spiral. Pair these with your favorite Slug shotgun and those are the weapons you'll need. For the subclass, you'll need Stasis Hunter with Marksman's Dodge to reload your weapons and shorten your dodge cooldown, as well as Winter Shroud to slow people when you pop your dodge near them. I'll talk about the other aspect and grenade in a little bit. For fragments, you'll need Whisper of Durance to increase slow duration. For the other 3 fragments, you can run whatever you'd like, but I run Whisper of Torment for more grenades when taking damage, Whisper of Shards for even more grenades when destroying crystals, and Whisper of Chains for some damage resist and a stat boost to recovery. I normally run Touch of Winter with Duskfield grenades for a really high slowing uptime, but this season you can run Shatter Dive with Glacier grenades to pair with the extra shatter damage artifact mod. As for armor and mods, it goes without saying you'll need Mask of Bakris for this build, and you'll want both Better Already and Recuperation on your boots for an almost instant heal on orb pickup, as well as Reaper and Powerful Attraction on your class item to do the Reaper trick with. The rest of your mods can go to your weapons, and if you can fit a Siphon mod on your helmet, the extra orb can come in handy. This Bakris build can take advantage of the Reaper trick to make plays, heal from orbs, and benefit from light shift, all while taking advantage of the great utility that Stasis Hunter has to offer, with Winter Shroud dodge, super fast Duskfield grenades or Glacier grenade shatter dive, and a solid super to top it off. Let's get on to the next build. The next build uses Devour to take advantage of the Reaper trick. This build utilizes invis to stay unpredictable after the dodge, as well as stylish executioner to chain invis and grant true sight from ability assisted kills. The biggest thing that makes me favor this build more than the Bakris alternative is the exotic armor flexibility, allowing me to run Stompies. In my opinion, the extra slide distance from Stompies is vitally important for getting a Slug shotgun kill. Plus, I might have a crippling Stompies addiction. This build is derived from Killusion. He mains this build and is the most clutch player I've ever watched. If you want to see some high level gameplay of this build, I'll link his Twitch down in the description and update it with a link to his video on the build whenever it comes out. Make sure to check him out if you want to see some top tier trials gameplay. He's good for an incredible amount of 1v3s with this build. Let's start with the core of what makes this build possible, the abilities. This build runs Night Stalker with Marksman's Dodge and Scatter Grenades. For aspects, I run Vanishing Step to turn invisible after using the Reaper combo, and secondly, Stylish Executioner to chain invis and proc True Sight to get follow-up kills. Since you won't be using the Smoke Bomb on yourself, use it to bait radar and throw it at enemies to proc True Sight and create orbs with our fragments. Speaking of fragments, the most essential part of the build is here. Echo of Starvation grants me Devour on orb pickup, instantly healing me to full health while using the Reaper trick. Echo of Persistence increases the duration of Devour and Invis. Echo of Undermining will improve your Scatter Grenade and proc Stylus Executioner, while also activating the last fragment, Echo of Harvest, which will create an orb and a Void Breach whenever you defeat a weakened enemy. With weapons, you get more flexibility here to run what you're comfortable with. Since we no longer have Light Shift element to match with, the best primaries for chaining kills that I would recommend are Hawkmoon, Thorn, and Ace of Spades. Although anything you feel comfortable getting kills with should work fine. As for your other weapons, my recommendations for Slug shotguns remain the same as before. The armor selection for this build is fairly open-ended, as the build at its core relies entirely on the subclass and mods to work. I believe Stompies are the absolute best choice due to the increased slide distance massively benefiting Slug shotgun engagements, but I love Stompies so much that it matters a lot more to me than it does to most people. Alternatively, you could try Dragon Shadow, Gemini Jesters, or Speedloader Slacks to juice up your dodge during the Reaper combo. Or just go for something to improve your neutral game, such as Knucklehead Radar, Graviton Forfeit, Omnioculus, or Kefri's Sting. The build relying entirely on abilities and mods allows you to run any exotic that you'd like, and the flexibility is one of the biggest reasons I prefer this over the Bakris version. For the mods, this build is even less restrictive than the last one. Since Echo of Starvation grants you Devour and full health upon orb pickup, you don't need Recuperation or Better Already like in the previous build. All you need is Powerful Attraction and Reaper, but a Siphon mod can still help you here. In terms of stat distributions, you don't actually need much mobility for either build because you'll be saving dodges for getting picks, so I like running somewhere in the ballpark of 50 to 70 mobility. I pad the rest of my stats with high recovery and discipline, and put the rest into resilience and intellect. Here's what I run for both builds. You'll find that when building the Void version out, there's a massive amount of stat penalties, so I wouldn't stress getting perfect stats too much. Having a few less stat points matters less than you'd think, and the fragments are too important to give up. Finally, I'll explain some of the playstyle patterns that you'll want to follow to use these builds effectively. They're both relatively the same, but with different bonuses for doing the same things. Throughout the round, you'll want to watch for your opponents to make positioning mistakes, and see if you can create an opportunity to use the Reaper trick with your Slug shotgun. It doesn't have to be a major mistake, somebody just has to give you a chance to slide out and get a shotgun pick. It doesn't matter if this person has a teammate nearby either. If you can secure one kill and use the Reaper trick, you'll instantly heal to full health and be able to fight the other guy in a completely fair fight. The advantage here is that no one will expect you to have full health after you get out of the first engagement, and people will commonly get greedy and make positioning mistakes to try and finish you off. With the Void build, Devour can heal even further after the first gunfight if you can keep getting kills. The Bakris build only has healing after the first kill, but instead gains light shift damage boosts. Both builds feature especially evasive dodges, with the Bakris teleport and Vanishing Step invis, which work especially well with the Reaper combo to get in and out of sketchy situations. You should always pop your dodge as soon as you shoot your Slug shotgun. If you miss the shot, you can use it to escape, and if you hit the shot, you can use it to get in with the Reaper trick. Make sure to save a dodge for when you need to make a play, or alternatively, you can make a play shortly after dodging, within the 10-second window of using your dodge for Reaper to spawn an orb. Just keep your dodge uptime in mind throughout the round. The plays aren't this black and white, however. Both builds have very strong utility with their melees and grenade abilities, along with fragments to benefit them. Make sure you use these as you normally would to create openings for you and your team. Making a push after an enemy gets slowed by a stasis ability or stuck in a smoke bomb is a great way to open up a play. Other than playing the initial pick, the play patterns for this build aren't very abstract, and just know your effective slug shotgun range so that you don't get picked by a regular shotgun, and play confidently to the best of your ability. This build gets exponentially better the more you improve with it. If you enjoyed or found this video useful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so I know I should make more content like this. If you want to see more of my content, check out my other build guides. Thanks for watching. Bye!